Well, time is ticking down for the Falls of Clyde.
That historic Honolulu ship could be sunk if its latest fundraising efforts fall short. KITV4's Paul Drew standing by live at Honolulu Harbor with the latest tonight. Paul.
The Falls of Clyde sits peacefully here at Honolulu Harbor, just like it has done for decades. Supporters are working to make sure it stays afloat, but the state says it is sinking financially.
Looking at their tax filings over the years, it's been diminishing based upon the cost that they're putting in, and we anticipate that they have only a few years left.
The Friends of the Falls of Clyde, the group responsible for this historic ship, got notified last month the state plans to terminate the permit allowing the ship to be docked for free because the Falls of Clyde continues to fall apart.
They received it from the Bishop Museum with the intent that it would go into dry dock somewhat quickly after that. Again, 6 years later, doesn't appear that we're anywhere closer to putting it to dry dock.
In response, the Friends have started up an Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign to raise $1.5 million.
The primary project that we need to have funded is the dry dock.
Volunteers have been working on other smaller ship projects for years and have big plans for the historic vessel, which is the last four-masted oil tanker in the world. Some hope to return the ship, originally built in 1878, to its former glory as a hands-on classroom of Hawaii sailing history and a harbor attraction.
Many organizations held meetings and parties aboard the ship. There were weddings aboard the ship, birthday parties. So it was a very important central part of not only the community but of the harbor.
But the state now views the ship as a threat to public safety and want it moved out of Honolulu Harbor.
Primary concern would be an event like Fukushima, Japan, in where we have a vessel that can't get out of the harbor, bouncing around in the harbor and creating an obstacle for us to bring in food and supplies after.
That's what happened when these boats were ripped from their moorings at Ke'ehi Lagoon after the Japanese tsunami. Falls of Clyde last sailed in 1988, but now it can't even be relocated to another harbor.
She cannot be safely moved out of the harbor until, the hull is assessed and the repair work is done.
Supporters only have until August before another meeting with the state. If they can't reach their fundraising goal, the Falls of Clyde could then be taken on its final voyage.
We said we can't move the ship safely, but we have to move the ship, then the only option would be to take her out and, make her into a diving spot.
The $1.5 million needed for the Falls of Clyde would just be the start. It would take millions more to repair and maintain other parts of the storied ship. Meanwhile, the state wants to make sure that it's not on the hook for millions of dollars in liability if the Falls of Clyde were to sink in Honolulu Harbor. At Pier 7, Paul Drews, KITV4 News.